Have you ever noticed something unsettling about yourself? You meet someone new. There's a spark, excitement, genuine interest. You want to know everything about them. You text back quickly. You think about future conversations, and then, without warning, it disappears. The interest evaporates. The excitement fades. The person who fascinated you yesterday feels like a stranger today. Not because they did anything wrong. Not because something happened. The feeling just ... leaves. And maybe you've wondered if something is wrong with you. Here's the paradox. Nobody understands. You're not cold. You actually feel things intensely. You crave deep connection more than most people. But something keeps pulling you away before connections fully form. So what's actually happening when interest vanishes without explanation? What does this pattern reveal about how your mind actually works? Let's start with what's really going on beneath the surface. When you meet someone new, your brain does something specific. It scans for depth, for authenticity. 4 layers beneath the surface presentation. In those early moments, everything feels possible. This person might be different. Might have the substance you're searching for. Might be someone who actually understands. So you invest. You engage. You open up. But here's what's fascinating. Your brain is simultaneously running a deeper evaluation. One you're not even conscious of. It's asking questions. Is this person genuinely complex or just initially interesting? Do they have real depth or just the appearance of depth? Is there substance here or just novelty? And when your brain decides, the answer is no. Interest doesn't gradually decline. It switches off. Completely. Almost instantly. This isn't cruelty. This is discernment operating at high speed. Here's the first thing this reveals about you. You're wired for depth over novelty. Most people are satisfied with surface connection, with pleasant exchanges and comfortable familiarity, with relationships that stay safely shallow. But you can't survive there. Your mind is designed to seek substance. Real complexity, authentic depth. And when it detects that depth isn't available, it loses motivation to continue. Research on what psychologists call need for cognition shows that some people have significantly higher drives for mental stimulation. They need complexity, they need layers. Without them, engagement becomes impossible. You're not losing interest in people. You're losing interest in surfaces that promised depth but delivered flatness. That's not coldness. That's standards. Here's the second thing. You experience intensity that can't sustain itself. When you connect, you don't connect casually. You dive deep immediately. You want meaningful conversation now. You want to understand someone completely in the first few meetings. This intensity is genuine. It's not performance. It's how you actually experience interest. But here's where it gets complex. That same intensity creates a specific problem. You extract meaning from people quickly. You understand them faster than you realize. And once someone is understood, the mystery that fueled your interest dissolves. It's not that they became less interesting. It's that you process them at a speed they weren't prepared for. Where others take months to truly know someone, you take weeks, sometimes days. And once the knowing is complete, the curiosity that drove connection runs out of fuel. Here's the third thing. You're protecting yourself before you realize you need protection. Losing interest quickly can be a defense mechanism, one you developed long before you could name it. Think about it. If you've been disappointed by people before, if connections have hurt you, your brain learned something. It learned that investment leads to pain, that opening up leads to being let down. Have you ever noticed something strange about yourself after social gatherings? Everyone else seems energized. They're making plans for later, talking about where to go next, and you're already calculating how long until you can be alone again. Not because you didn't enjoy yourself, but because something inside you feels completely drained. Here's the paradox. You might actually love people. You might be great at conversations. You might even be the one everyone gravitates toward at parties. And yet, being around others costs you something it doesn't seem to cost them. So what does this exhaustion actually reveal about you? What if it's not a weakness at all, but a sign of something rare? Let's start with quality number 1. You process everything deeply. While most people experience social interactions on the surface, you're operating on multiple levels simultaneously. You're hearing what someone says, but you're also noticing what they're not saying. The pause before they answered, the way their smile didn't quite reach their eyes, the subtle shift in their posture when a certain topic came up. This is what psychologists call deep processing, and research on highly sensitive people shows that their brains literally work harder during social interactions. More areas light up, more connections are made, more information is absorbed. Here's the thing. This isn't a choice you make, it's how you're wired. Your brain treats every conversation like a complex puzzle to be understood rather than just experienced. And that level of processing requires enormous amounts of mental energy. Energy that eventually runs out. Quality number 2. You feel what others feel. There's a phenomenon in neuroscience called mirror neurons. These are brain cells that fire not just when you perform an action, but when you watch someone else perform it. They're the biological basis of empathy, and in some people, this mirroring system is extraordinarily active. When you're in a room with someone who's anxious, you don't just notice their anxiety, you absorb Italiano. When someone shares their pain, you don't just sympathize, you feel an echo of that pain in your own body. When there's tension between two people nearby, it enters your nervous system like a frequency you can't tune out. But here's what's fascinating. This isn't a flaw in your wiring, it's a gift that costs something. You're essentially running an emotional processor that takes in everyone else's feelings and tries to make sense of them. After a few hours of this, of course you're exhausted. You've been feeling for an entire room. And this is where it gets interesting. Quality number 3. You struggle with superficiality. Some people can float through social situations on autopilot. Small talk, surface-level exchanges, pleasant nothingness that passes the time without requiring real presence. You can't do that. Or rather, you can, but it drains you even faster than deep connection does. Here's why. When you're being superficial, you're performing. You're suppressing your natural desire to go deeper. You're smiling at jokes that aren't funny, nodding at opinions you don't share, pretending to care about things that feel meaningless to you. This performance is exhausting because it requires constant self-monitoring. You're not just being present, you're managing an image. And that takes far more energy than simply being yourself. The psychology behind this runs deeper. People who value authenticity experience what researchers call cognitive dissonance. When forced to be fake, there's a tension between who you are and who you're pretending to be. And that tension wears you down. Quality number 4. You notice everything. Walk into a party with someone like you, and they're instantly aware of the room's emotional temperature. Who's uncomfortable? Who's pretending? Which conversation is genuine and which is forced? Where the real connections are, and where people are just killing time. This is called perceptual sensitivity, and it means your brain is constantly scanning, interpreting, and cataloging information that others simply don't register.